Greetings everybody, this video is brought to you by Mark, and this is the very thing that he needs to say. Hey, once in a while American men, generally working class, travel for intimacy and union with the Orient and Latin America, wanting to find a lady that isn't run-of-the-mill, lady that make men attempt to stay away from. My inquiry is, as a response to that, have American ladies, expecting that they're for the most part white working class, migrating towards interracial experimentation in the same way that American men have? One of the ladies' objections. I hear of Western women intimate tourism to Africa and the Caribbean more than Latin America or Asia, perhaps highlighting American ladies craving father-kid types to make up for their longing or shortfall. Interracial grown-up amusement is likewise enormous business. Is it a genuine pattern for white Englished Saxon ladies or simply envisioned dream? Are men or women being fooled by the direction adult content points to? My point is American men appear to need docile, loyal, cherishing ladies. For the American ladies, what do they want? In the event that my supposition is right, they need to float towards additional predominant men. Presenting a lady to her reality is continuously annoying, as she never needs to confront it or own up to it. I want to believe that I ran over well. It's a complex, however, straightforward hypothesis or examination. All things being equal, my number one out-rabbit statement is, don't attempt to figure out ladies. Ladies comprehend ladies, and they disdain one another. One final idea, how might men uphold one another? Like an older sibling arriving at a strong hand up. I went through a horrendous separation, and it cost me over $500,000 in legal counselor's charges. I know a large number of the stunts in the entanglements. I'm considering assembling something as a precautionary prophylactic against the minefield that men enter with no genuine direction or rulebook. Well, gratitude for your subject and indeed composing a standard book to assist men with exploring the minefield of the separation courts is smart. At the point when you compose it, I'd be eager to advance it on my channel through a sponsorship of some kind or another. For what reason are ladies going to the Caribbean and Africa? For intimate travel industry and to track down accomplices. How does this connect with men that go to Asia to track down ladies around there? I think it boils down to the way that in the West, men are progressively being feminized, and the ladies are progressively being manly. Since inverse draws in, assuming you're a feminine Western lady or manly Western man, your capacity to find an accomplice hasn't gone quickly down. So it's a good idea that men are really moving to Asian nations to find ladies that are female. Recall that in a spot like Thailand, there are not many overweight ladies out there. Even the men look better compared to most Western ladies. That ought to let you know basically all you really want to. Indeed, even a fairly feminized man from the West will presumably look more manly than a considerable lot of the Asian men around there, so ladies will find such a man appealing. Assuming you add their monetary status and assets, it's not difficult to see the reason why men are going to places like that. Concerning why Western ladies are going for men in Africa or the Caribbean, that also is very basic. In spite of the fact that I could do without the generalization, I really do find that most of the men of color I meet appear to have it easy putting on muscle for reasons unknown. You reference that Western ladies may be watching a dull material and expecting that person of color have greater feast individuals. That is what has been deductively demonstrated by a study by Kinsey. He found that white guys have a typical groin length of 5.9 inches versus the 6.1 to 6.2 inches for the typical black man. Indeed, even still, grown-up satisfied makers put bigger people of color on the screen. So this assists to that generalization. Is this bigotry in the old material? No, because it depicts people of color as being superiorly enriched. Thus, that could be a justification for Western ladies to be with such men notwithstanding them being more strong. Controlling such men is likewise much simpler. On the off chance that you're a Western lady, you have more cash in your nation of origin. You can ruin your sweetheart young men, as well as keeping such men in obscurity. Explicitly about men that you have back at home in Canada or any place. You get to keep your social world independent. This is the kind of thing that just is by all accounts completely acknowledged in the period of mass air flight and Tinder. Presently, ladies can keep their groups of friends totally different, so it's much harder to find out and disgrace them for their ways of behaving. I recall about a little while ago making a video about divorced ladies from the UK dating men in Turkey. The Turkish folks had various Western ladies that would come and visit them. Regularly, they were attempting to land a lady that will return them to the US, Canada, or whatever other Western country that they're from. So it could be said, ladies as well as men could utilize the green card, cash, or unfamiliar citizenship to bait unfamiliar accomplices into having intercourse with them and potentially having a relationship. I've watched various Thai narratives about how Thai ladies are trusting that in the event that they date an adequate number of Western men, one of them will go gaga for them and take them to their nation of origin. Amusingly, however, when they arrive, they'll see that there are men there of higher status, and hypergamy will in all probability kick in. Going abroad to find an accomplice is normal. Everything boils down to dating commercial center worth. Western people are evaluated all around the world on the grounds that in numerous nations, lighter skin is viewed as attractive and admittance to Western assets implies a superior life. I knew a really overweight lady that wedded an African man, and this permitted him to remain in the country. I likewise knew a more seasoned white buddy that wedded an African lady from the Ivory Coast, then took her back to Canada, and they began a family in some modest community. It's a good idea to take your worth in the dating commercial center and go to where you can maximize it. I additionally knew a hot lady in her early 20s while growing up that went to Mexico. She met some hot youthful dark guy around there, and she led him on for a couple of years. She at last settled with some Canadian person that seems to be a monster. Be that as it may, basically he's rich with assets. She concluded that her way of life is a higher priority than a delightful man that would ultimately become terrible and stay poor. All kinds of people influence their looks and their race card to get them out of neediness. It's just in Western nations that local people have become visually challenged as a rule and accept that being with another person outside your own race is some way or another more high-minded than being with somebody from a similar foundation. I won't settle on a decision. Maybe an unfortunate African or Central Eastern man who has cash in the situation in which being with the Western lady will do precisely that. That is all I must say for now. Much obliged, Mark, for your theme. Remember to crush the like button the way that Western land whales are standing by to get crushed by the belly privateers of the Caribbean. Bang the bell in gratitude for taking your day-to-day portion of Red Pill. Recall, a red pill daily keeps the manly ladies pursuing much more manly African men away. I so partake in the remainder of your day and good health.